Good evening, everyone. Real quick before we start, I'd just like to acknowledge someone. Mary McNett was a board member here for many years, and she passed away on Thanksgiving. And, you know, I just wanted to pay a little bit of a homage to her only because she was an incredible volunteer for this township. She sat on the town council, was a huge influential member of the HPC, and then was on this board for, I think, about 14 years. Wow. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to sit next to her. She sat down at the end corner over there, and I was fortunate to sit next to her for many years. And whenever I adjudicated, and for some reason I wasn't on the same side as she was, I had to really think twice about why I wasn't, because her decisions were so measured and well thought out. And she also was kind of a visionary in some of the decisions that she did make. So she will be missed, and I know Jessica had a special relationship with her as well. So I just wanted to let everyone know, and you know, it's a loss to the township to have someone that was such a consummate volunteer over the years. So now she would be shaking her head at me saying, "Craig, could you get on with it?" She never really liked that kind of stuff. So we'll move on this evening. So real quick, before we even start anything else, I just want to go over these applications, because if you're here, we can pitch it out. What's that? Oh yeah, go ahead, do that.
Did you read the notice yet?
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that out.
Let's get everything started.
All right, here we go. Wait for a date.
December 4th.
All right, in accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised the notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board, town hall, and mailing to the officially designated newspapers listed the meeting dates annually, indicating this meeting will take place at the town hall at 7 p.m. on Monday, December 4th, 2023.
Ashley Amador? Here. Chandra Garbani?
Here.
Amy Lawrence? Here. Karen Rosen?
Here.
Rita Truitt? Here. David Caulfield?
Here.
Jessica Flatt?
Here.
Craig Putnam?
Here. So, as I was saying, before we start with our minutes and memorializations, we have three cases that are going to be carried this evening. So I just want, in case anyone's here, they can get going. But calendar 39/11/23, which is Amaya Garbayo, which is 146 Sagamore. That matter will be carried to 1/8/24 for scheduling purposes only. So if you are here and you're for that case, make sure that you check in before the January 8th meeting, because that may change again. Calendar.
So for that matter, the Garbayo matter, the matter's been carried to January 8th, 2024, 7 p.m. in this room, and no further notice will be offered by the applicant.
And that's just for scheduling purposes.
Right, so the expectation is that the hearing will not take place on January 8th, but at the January 8th meeting, we'll announce the new hearing date. And so if you're interested in that application, you should be present to hear the new hearing date, unless you, as Craig said, checked in earlier and found out that it's been carried to a date certain.
And this applies the same thing for the next two. Calendar 39/25/23, which is Lucky Express USA LLC at 11 Mount Ararat Road. That is in the same situation. That's carried to 1/8/24 for scheduling purposes only. There will be no further notice given by the applicant, so please check in on that one. Are you here on that one? Are you guys here on that?
Sagamore.
You're on Sagamore? Okay. And the other property located on Sagamore, 99 Sagamore, which is calendar 39/52/23. Duran and Araya Hegde, that has the same situation.
Is that,
Sorry?
is that Sagamore?
Yes,
That's 99 Sagamore.
There's two.
there's two on
There's
site.
two. This was basically one stage.
Okay. Okay.
So that will be carried as well. Once again, no further notice will be given by the applicant. So please either check the website or check the town hall as we will be discussing where we go there on 1/8.
So that's also carried to January 2024 for scheduling purposes only here?
Correct.
7 o'clock? Thank you.
Correct. So those three cases. So we're going to start with our approval of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve this evening. First one's being October 2nd, 2023. Any changes or corrections to those minutes? If not, who's eligible to vote?
Everyone.
Everyone? Okay. Then can I have a motion to approve those minutes? Motion to approve. And a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next, we have the minutes of 10/16/23. Who we have there?
Ashley, Chandra, Regina, Joe, Jessica, Craig. The only thing that I had to add at the last minute is on page 15, the calendar 3918-23 at 20 Claremont was the first applicant. It was carried to today, but it was left off here. So it will just be a notation indicating that the matter was carried.
Okay, thank you.
Any other corrections or changes to that set of minutes? Then, I'm sorry?
I couldn't hear the issue of 99 Sagamore Road has been postponed, is that correct?
That is correct. It's postponed till 1/8/24 for scheduling purposes only. So it may or may not be heard that evening. So you're gonna wanna check before that, okay? So either call town hall, check the website,
Right.
but it will be mentioned that evening, but if we get any further notice, we'll move forward.
Thank you,
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
so, getting back to the minutes of 10/16/23, one of the people that were mentioned, could you please make a motion?
Move approval of minutes of 10/16/23.
Second.
Take your second. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? And lastly, we have the minutes of 11/6/23. Any corrections or changes? Who's eligible?
Everyone.
Okay. If there's no corrections or changes, can I have a motion?
I'll move approval minutes of 11/6/23.
I can second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Next, we have 3 memorializations this evening, starting with calendar 39/48/22. Hakan Gotas at 91 Mountain View Road in Milburn. Any corrections or changes? Is eligible in that?
All full members.
All full members, nice. Then in that case, could I have a motion?
Motion to approve calendar number 39/48/22 memorialization.
Great, a second.
Second. Ashley Avigdor.
Yes.
Chandra Marjani.
Yes.
Amy Lawrence.
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Jessica Blatt.
Yes.
Frank Leitner.
Yes. Next up, calendar 39/45/23. Ilana Mizrahi and Ryan Looney at 7 Park Circle in Short Hills. Any corrections or changes? Same slate, or, okay. Can I have a motion in that case?
Sure. I make a motion to memorialize calendar 3945-23.
I can second.
Thank you.
Ashley Avigdor.
Yes.
Chandra Marjani.
Yes.
Amy Lawrence.
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Jessica Blatt.
Yes.
Frank Leitner.
Yes. Lastly, you have calendar 39/54/23, Jason and Kara Stern at 66 Spencer Drive. I'm assuming the same slate. Any corrections or changes? Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the memorialization for calendar number 3954-23.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Ashley Avigdor.
Yes.
Chandra Marjani.
Yes.
Amy Lawrence.
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Jessica Blatt.
Yes.
Frank Leitner.
Yes. So our first application this evening is going to be calendar 39/18/23, Gang Yao at 20 Claremont Drive. This application was carried from 10/16/23. Present? Who do you have?
Tom,
The third one.
Tom,
You want me to get
where's
some?
Tom? Where's Tom?
Singer's up there. Want me
He's
to-
up.
Okay.
He's up.
Thought we'd spend a lot of time with the minutes.
I guess so. His world roots, yes.
Now, Chandra, as I recall, they presented testimony on the 17th of April, and at the time they came and said you had listened to the tape. Is that still?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not, so
Okay.
you will be voting in place of.
Can never replace him.
I just said you vote in place.
You're up.
We're waiting for them.
Okay, then we're gonna move on, okay, and then we'll circle back.
And we have, I'm sorry, just so, we have 7 eligible voters for that, because it's D4,
Yes.
D4
Yes.
variance, so
We do.
great.
So next up, we have calendar 393323, Zijing Liu and Yun Yang at 38 Addison Drive. Going once, going twice. Was that?
This is, yeah, that was.
10-10.
Did I hear it?
This was, it was carried from
10-16.
Yeah.
10-16, right?
Same.
Oh, was this the, Eileen, was this the one I called you about to see if they had new plans or revised plans submitted?
This is side yard setback mostly. On the second floor.
This needs several, these combined side.
Side yard, it was mostly side yard based stuff.
Because I think the first. We're told to come back with it.
Okay,
But I haven't heard from them, so I don't know.
moving on. Tim, what are you, Tim, which one are you?
got the next case.
All right, come on down.
And we're ready.
Well, which case?
Calendar 394723. Aurora. Oh, yeah. Regina Aurora, 263. Are you 15 Duncan?
Yes.
Okay, you'll be next. It's 7 cases to 2.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I know.
That's the magic.
That's for the viewer.
Exactly.
The viewers.
Right.
Okay, so if both of you are going to speak, swear in.
Do you swear upon testimony about to give tonight in this hearing to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Your names for the record, please.
Rajan Arora. Timothy Cressy.
Who'd like to start?
So,
Step to the microphone, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so we've been, we moved in Shortles in 2007. We have 2 boys. The oldest son is special needs. He was born Down syndrome, and he's also autistic. He's now 24 years old. He has been actually still waitlisted in a couple of adult programs since the pandemic. He graduated from ECLC Chatham. So we have a pretty difficult time, just kind of managing his schedule and all that. So we decided that we should have some extra space for him in the attic area where he could do some therapies, maybe have some recreation for him. Our roof is in a pretty bad shape, so we were initially thinking of replacing the roof, but then somebody recommended that you could raise the attic a little bit and create some extra space which he could use. So I have been in touch with Eileen, got an engineer, to do the plan for the roof as to where the beams are needed and what structural work needed to be done. But I guess we had some issues with setbacks and all that, so Eileen recommended that we should have an architect who's familiar with all the codes, and also I reached out to Tim, and Tim has, basically worked on the plan and submitted all that was required. So that's the background, basically.
Great, thank you very much.
Just qualifications? I mean,
Oh, let the record show that Priscilla Saraff is, at 7/18. The qualifications, sir.
I'm a licensed architect in New York and New Jersey. I've been licensed for about 30 years, believe it or not. And my license is in good standing. I presented in front of this board on numerous occasions, and at this point, kind of boards all over the place. New Jersey, New York, and also out of state. And everything's well paid up and in good standing.
Super, your qualifications are accepted, please proceed.
Thank you. Okay, so I picked this up, and they had already filed with Eileen, and Eileen had been, they had already completed the application and done some other things, but I think probably what really happened is Eileen just thought they needed a more adequate set of drawings to be able to come in front of the board, probably. And so we did a set of drawings for them, which are enclosed in front of you. And I included those drawings with the cover letter that I sent you on November 15th, that I think everybody should have a copy of.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the summary of what's really going on at this point. If I flip to, or the intent here is to build an open area up on the second floor, a sort of like a play space, workout space, just sort of a large area. So instead of asking to put a second floor in this building, which they could really do, they were really raising the plate up 5 feet. So it's sort of like a larger half second story, right? Like it could be a bigger building, but we have kept it down so that it didn't get too large, and give us a large play space on the second floor. And then I figured out, when I went through the zoning, I could see that if I take you to the attachment E, which is the second one in this little 8.5 by 11s that I gave you, the big deviation here is for side yard setback. And that was on the left side if you're looking at the building. And we contemplated not adding up on that section of the building so that we wouldn't impact the side yard setback, but we made the decision, we did, that the building looked better with the second floor, so we should just come to the board. And I'll show that to you. And the other thing that's going on here is building coverage, because the existing site is really sort of an expanded ranch, and it has an existing building coverage of 14.8, where it's only allowed to be 14%. It's over in building coverage by 150, 200 square feet. And our request here is to add a portico to the front door, and that portico has kicked us up by another 60 square feet, and that's the request for this variance.
Tim, let me interrupt you for a second. So in your markup of attachment E, under B for building coverage, you have here existing over by, I think it says 179. Is that, and you just said 150, I just want to make the record clear as to what it is.
Oh, I wrote, yeah, that's true. The existing is presently over by 179 square feet. I'm sorry, I was kind of just rounding, but it is exactly, I wrote it on the bottom. Yeah. The existing was over 179, and the increase tonight is 45 square feet for the portico, and that brings me up to the 224 square feet, because everything that's over is actually a request, even the existing non-conforming 179.
Did you say you're going over by another 45?
45 square
But you're
feet.
asking for 65.
Um,
Because your existing is showing at 3155, right? And your proposed is 3220.
yeah, what's this?
So
What's the
that's
spread there?
65. And the 3155 is 14.8 versus the allowable 14.
I would say then the portico is probably 65 square feet, not 45 square feet.
Okay, so then you want to.
Because I think that 45 is probably, I wrote it wrong.
Okay.
Because the portico is probably bigger
Well,
than
if I'm reading this.
5 by,
right,
I think
just
it's
wanna make sure
deeper
I get it
than
right.
4 by 10.
But it looks like 3220 is what you're proposing.
3220.
And you got 3155 existing.
Yes.
So no-
But the deviation, yeah, so that's the spread. But the deviation that we're requesting this evening is for 1.1%, so that the existing non-conforming condition becomes conforming. I was gonna take you to my drawings. Okay. Guess I'm gonna do it right here. I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna do it here.
Tim, I don't think we have certainly that cover sheet with those photographs, so why don't we
Yes.
mark that, okay, one. And just describe what it is with the date, please.
This is the exact same BOA one sheet that you have, except that I added 2 photos to it, just so you could see it. The photo on the left is the existing building, and it's really a 1-story expanded ranch. It's,
I'm sorry, Tim, what's the date, last revision date, if there is one, or just the date of that plan?
11/14/23.
Thank you.
So it's really an expanded ranch that we're asking to raise the roof. Everything that we're raising is actually conforming, except for this one little bit on the left side. This is a rear view of the same thing in the adjacent house. The adjacent house really is a driveway going to the left and into the basement area. So there's a good amount of space here. There's about another 30 feet from the property line to the adjacent house, to swing the cars in. So if I look at my survey in the middle, which is the same as the survey that you guys have, everything that we cross-hatched is new sort of second floor area. And this area on the left side is really second floor space, but it's open to below. We just didn't need all this area on the second floor. And this small little triangle that's on the left over here is the deviation of why we're here. In other words, if we deleted the portico and we deleted this addition, we wouldn't be here tonight. But we decided to come because we wanted to increase this roof so that it would better match the roof that's on the house to the right, on the primary building. So I'm just gonna flip now.
You're just building over the first floor.
We're really just literally building over the first floor. No, the only addition is the portico. So now if I go to my BOA 2 sheet, which really is exactly the same as yours, the first floor, we just changed it to a double door in front, added a stairway because there's no stairway going up to the second floor. There was no second floor. We come up, we opened that as a 2-story space. We just came up and we were planning to open these floors. This line that's coming through is the 22-foot line that's related to that second floor. Right? The first floor is allowed to be 15 and the second floor is 22. And now if I go to my BOA 3 sheet, I'm up on the second floor. I come up the stairs and I can look down to the right, down into the first floor. I come over, I can look down into the kitchen. And then I come in a set of doors and I just come into this play space. That's all it is a large open space. The plate around the perimeter is 5 feet high. So the plate is at this height. And then the roof is sloping up till we get to the 8 feet. That's where that line is. And then we're just creating the space. And we kept it lower because I just didn't want it to look like too big on the site itself. And it's more than enough space to what we need to be able to do, what we're trying to do here.
So what's the ceiling height on the second floor on the right?
The ceiling height on the right is really an 8-foot ceiling. Yeah. It's almost like it's like a keep up there, the way it has the click. And if I come to the front, the old gutter line was right there coming through. And all we've done is taken the roof and really that's the 5 feet that we pushed the roof up so that we could kind of create that second floor space. This architectural treatment is really just treatment just to make the facade look better. this area, that little block, is the block of space that the variance request is for tonight. It's tapered, right? This is the worst condition, and it tapers down to almost a foot wide at the back. Right? But that's really that block that the guys pochade in there. And this is that new portico that we're asking to put in the front. That really takes me through really my presentation. If I come to the sides, my BOA 5 sheet, you can see that all we've done really was take the old roof, cut it, and raise the second floor up so that we create some sort of an open area space up on the second floor. Okay, and I think that's really it, unless if the board has any questions. I guess I should just tell you that the FAR is under by 4%. I mean, the site isn't saturated, right? The building coverage is over. The lot coverage is the same as it was, right? We've made no change to the lot coverage at all. And all we did really was raise the building height so that we could create the second floor space. It's conforming, the height.
So in terms of the height, so the maximum permitted height in the R4 is 32 feet, and you're at 23 feet max? What are you at?
The actual permitted height is 35,
35 feet?
and we're at 32'6" to that high
Oh,
ridge.
you went from 23 to 32?
We went from 23 to 32'6"
Okay,
at that high ridge. You know.
thank you.
Everything else about the site, conforms. There, any questions?
Your numbers are off on every calculation.
The numbers were a little bit, yeah.
But they're all off. I'm not sure it's gonna make a material amount
Yeah.
forward in terms of making a decision. But like your building coverage right now, it is 14.8. Okay, based on, if your lot is truly 21,255, okay, you're low, and then you're actually 3165. But if you go down your floor area ratio, you at 31.9, you're at 4654, not 4661. So you're high there. And your building coverage is low, but it's by a little bit here and there. So
It's probably because we had a couple of different lot areas.
well,
That was, I
that's
think,
what I'm
probably
wondering.
what caused the problem. So I had a bunch of different surveys and
Okay.
I had different
Like
areas.
10 square feet up or down on each thing if you use 21,255.
We ended up deciding that the lot area was 21,255.
Okay, then.
But I did start with a bunch of different lot areas.
Right, so that's maybe.
That's
why.
probably what happened here.
Yeah, because that would be if your existing is 14.8. You're actually 3145. is your
Instead of
existing building coverage.
3155.
Right,
And that's what he has here.
right, I was just looking at this table here. You have 3155.
Right.
It's actually 3145.
See, Mr. Classy, as you know, the thing that we're concerned about is just to make sure that if the
No, I-
board is inclined to grant your relief, that we don't want to grant your relief and then you build the project and then you get a stop work order.
Sure.
Yeah,
because
right.
You didn't ask for the right thing.
I understand.
So your building coverage.
I know you're trying to help here. I mean,
Well, yeah, it's sort of.
Yeah, I know what you, I know.
So it's
what
3145, okay, is your actual current coverage based on what you submitted, and then you'd be at 30, I mean, if you're truly asking for 15.1% of, based on 21,255, you're at 3209, not 3220. If 15.1% is the correct number, so.
Well,
and
you know,
same-
you know what else is true? Let's say that the first one was 3145 plus 65. That would bring me to, it's probably 3,200 really.
That's 3220, so then the percentage is off.
3220.
So then your percentage is off. However you want to look at it, because if you actually, well, if you're 3145 is the actual amount plus your 65, that's 3210. That gets to my number. I said 3209.
3210.
Right.
Yeah, do you want to like, so the problem is if we approve this, and, I mean, the only good thing is we actually approve it 10 square feet high.
It's high, actually, yeah.
So do you want to stay with these numbers?
I think the numbers are fine.
Okay. This is the way I look at it.
I know what you're saying, but
You're 10 high. Like, your application's 10 high technically from, but as long as your numbers are correct.
yeah, I think that,
Because you're flirting with like kind of tight numbers.
Yeah. Why don't you take a couple minutes, we'll move on to another application.
okay,
And you can verify the numbers and then tell us
I'll come back, okay.
existing, proposed, deviation, so we can get it all clear.
Yep, and that survey, is this survey correct? Right now? That's here.
That survey, I don't think that survey had a total number on it. That was, I had a bunch of different numbers for lot area that I got from the surveyor.
Well, pick one that you want to go with.
I
If you want to stay with
took the
21
lowest number in the end.
The 21,255.
Yeah.
All right, well then just, take a minute, get your application to match 21,255, because it's off all the way around right now.
Okay,
So we can do it, we'll move on real quick
okay.
into this next case. It's just there,
All right, thanks.
so.
Okay.
So
The matter is just being temporarily adjourned for a little bit to let the applicant verify some calculations that he prepared for the application. But if anyone, a member of the public is interested, he'll be back soon.
Calendar 395523, Candace Hahn, 15 Douglas Street, calm down. How are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
Super.
Good.
We will, are you both going to be speaking?
I'm a planning consultant, that if you would like. I would like to
Swear you in,
speak.
swear you in, so we're all done with that.
Both of us?
Yes, please.
Do you swear the testimony you give tonight be the truth, whole truth, not the truth?
I do,
I do.
Tell me your name.
Candace Hom, H-O-M.
and Peter Steck.
Very good. Great. Ms. Hahn, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name's Candace Hom. My husband and I and our family live at 15 Duncan Street. We are applying to have a side deck built on our property. We purchased the property in December of 2014, and we have two sons, ages 11 and 7. And we want a deck because we want to make use of our outdoor space. And I'm sure you've had a lot of applications since the pandemic, but we wanted to spend more time outside. We don't really have any large area outside aside from our front porch, which is covered, but we would like to make more use of our side and backyard. I understand that decks are supposed to be in the rear yard. But we do have a practical difficulty in putting it in the rear yard just because of the existing layout of the house. And I do have this exhibit that I don't know if I
Is it
should.
our package or no?
No, this is something that Mr. Steck actually put together.
Okay, hold on a second. If Peter put it together, then he should be presenting it.
Okay. Well, I'll just explain that, I'm sorry. Do you want to?
I prepared this, given some notes by Ms. Hom. So it's a combination of my work and her work, but I think it would be helpful to hand out because it shows the interior layout of the house.
Understanding that it's a combination product.
Okay.
Okay, is that okay?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
Give it to Eileen. And
Okay. Great.
How many pages is it? One page? or-
One page.
One page? Okay.
We're gonna, whatever this is, we're gonna mark it as A1.
Okay.
Once we get it, we'll identify. Okay, so we're gonna mark as exhibit A1, the handout, existing floor plan, application of Candace Hahn.
Okay, great, thank you.
Go ahead.
And this is a one-page exhibit. It was a combination of both of our efforts. I took the picture of the kitchen on November 28th, and Mr. Steck prepared, he actually took the other two photos, and he can attest to their accuracy. But I believe it fairly and accurately depicts the house interior and the kitchen layout. So as you can see, the back of the house is where the kitchen is, and the window that is in the middle picture goes to the backyard. But I guess, well, my husband and I feel it's important to be able to see our kids when they're outside. It would be, the side yard is actually a natural location because there's an extensive window area as well as existing French doors that open to the side yard, and those were put in by the owners before us, so they were pre-existing when we purchased the home. And our property is unusual because we do have an extended width. Most of the houses have a width of 50 feet, but our house and one other home, I believe, on our street have a width of 75 feet. So that's certainly helpful. We also have the benefit of an existing landscape of trees that provide privacy between our home and the adjacent neighbor's home. And that would certainly help keep our deck private. And also the deck is not, it would not be visible from her home or from, not really as much from the street because there's existing trees there. And I have spoken to our neighbor about this project. She has expressed her full support to me and was really very positive and was very confident that we would come up with something with a deck that's great. So she had she expressed no
If
qualms.
she's not here, we can't really take that as testimony, but
That's correct.
we understand so.
That's correct. But I've had nothing but positive experiences when talking about it with my neighbor. And anything else?
If, I'm happy to stand up, but the board may have questions for you.
Sure.
Any questions for Ms. Hahn?
In the bottom pictures, what is that red tape or line reference? Is that where the deck would go?
Exactly. That's Mr. Steck actually came to our home and outlined it with the red tape, and that's the extent of it, basically.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
And, I was there visiting it. Is the deck gonna be at the same level as the stairs, or it's gonna be like on ground level?
I think it will be up to where the stairs are.
So basically a small step out of the house, basically onto the deck.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else for Ms. Hahn?
Oh, sorry, I have one more, one more question. Are you planning on putting anything on the deck, like a grill or anything like that?
I mean, I think we want to buy a grill at some point. We don't know where we would put it. I think we have to figure out like where it would cause most odor or smoke, and we certainly don't want that going into the home. So I'm really not sure about that yet. We haven't gotten to that point.
A couple more questions. So what
Yes.
is the area of this deck? Is that, if that's here, I don't know if that's sort of covered. And,
Maybe 307 square feet?
yes, yeah, I mean, in terms of dimensions.
Do you, as Peter Steck for the record, I produced a memo that I believe the board should have dated August 21.
We did, we have to call.
Yes, but
Or qualify you, but it's.
it shows the dimensions of the deck in red.
God, I just saw it. Thank you.
You got anything else? Or? Okay, all right. Sorry, we're going to qualify you.
Yes, my name is Peter Steck, and I'm a licensed planner in New Jersey since 1976, and my license is still in effect.
And you appeared before this board and others.
Yes, I have about 200 municipalities in New Jersey.
Great, your qualifications are accepted.
Thank you. So just to, I don't know if you want to mark it separately, but I produced a memo dated August 21, 2023.
We're not gonna mark it because it's part of the.
Okay, so I would invite you to go to the second page. You see the lot layout on Duncan, and most of the lots are 50 feet or approximately 50 feet wide. This lot happens to be 75, and the house is a little bit left of center of the lot. This is in an R6 zone. If you look at the third page, you'll see I've indicated the dimensions of the deck that are proposed. It's 307 square feet in area. And there is already a partial deck there. There's a little porch uncovered that extends from the bump out of the house, and then 2 steps down to a walkway, which will be covered by it. That red tape shows the dimensions as it appears. And as you can see, if you're facing the next page is helpful, that it shows the front view of the house, and you can see on the right-hand side, there's extensive shrubbery, which is not going to be changed. The bottom photo.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Regarding the shrubbery, is that all on your client's property?
I believe it is, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And as indicated by Ms. Hom, the kitchen is all in the back wall of the building. So to try to get access to a deck, you would have to remove the kitchen, which has some practical and cost difficulties. So the variance that we need is simply that your ordinance requires a deck in the rear yard. That's logical because in most houses, that's the most private part of it. In this case, there are practical difficulties simply because of the design of the house. I'm not sure we have a constitutional right to a deck, but a deck is becoming a common appurtenance to modern living.
Pretty sure Jefferson did leave that out. But it could have been amended.
I'll check on it later. But it, but again, while it's for personal reasons, the applicant has a family and wants them to enjoy the outside, but yet if they were in a traditional deck in the back of the house, they would essentially be invisible because there are higher windows. There's no door access. You have to jog out to one side of the building for an open porch. What is unusual about this property is that there is more than enough space to place the deck. There's more than the minimum side yard, so we're not encroaching on the side yard. The only relief we need is that we're providing it in the side rather than the rear yard. And what I would suggest is because it's in the back half of the house, because of the excessive width, and because of the interior, there are practical difficulties that discourage a deck in the rear. Theoretically, it's possible to change the kitchen around or, walk out the side of the house and enter the deck separately, but it makes kind of a non-functional deck. The purpose of a deck is to have a horizontal extension of your house that's outside. So I think it is proposed to be designed in a handsome way. There certainly are some aesthetic benefits for doing it. There are practical difficulties because of the arrangement of the house. I think it meets the negative criterion because of the existing landscaping, the fact it's on the back half of the house, so not that visible from the front. And the real worry of your master plan in the R6 zone was you wanted, houses to preserve the character of the neighborhood. This is not a bulky thing. It's going to be essentially at the level of the first floor or a little below, not highly visible as a major addition. And I think that it does not at all injure the character of the neighborhood. And I guess it's helpful that there are no neighbors that have shown up in objection.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Go ahead.
Just a quick question. Will you be landscaping the front so that the people from the front of the street can't see the deck?
We don't anticipate, I mean, we have actually talked with the person who we've asked to build, hopefully build. We've talked with him about possibly putting some additional shrubbery. So that's something and we've also talked with some designers about that as well. So it's something that we've talked about, but it's not something we haven't set anything in stone. But I think aesthetically and to provide more privacy, it's certainly on the table. And I think it might not be realized until after we see what it looks like and whether it's visible from the front, in which case I think we'd be more inclined to add some shrubbery.
Because when I drove by, I did see that there was an air conditioning unit, I think, really
Yes.
close to that.
Yes.
I don't know if that's going to interfere with your construction or
It's gonna stay there and they're going to build around it.
you're going to build around it, so you have to be able to think about ventilation and shrubbery, with regards to shrubbery.
Any other questions? All right, then, you have anything else to present? Okay, then I will close the public portion of the meeting. Board members, what are your thoughts?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Say, I can see it's a modest request. I am a little concerned about, just that you could probably see it from the street, because I could see clear through to, just from my car, I could see through. So I would feel completely comfortable with this if you put some large shrubs, and you probably can talk to someone about it.
Let's do like 6 feet above the roof wall? Like
Well,
about
yeah,
6
the
feet?
traditional thing that we ask people who
I
have
think that's
fences, we often say just to preserve the privacy and also the cohesive look of the neighborhood. That would be, but I'm anxious to hear with my colleagues.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I would put as a condition of the memorialization would be to have plants planted 6 feet above the roof wall, something along the lines of a, Green Giant type thing, something that's gonna thoroughly screen the porch from the deck from the street. I think that would do the job. Because obviously, with people standing on it, you're already off the ground, probably 2.5 feet. Someone 6 foot tall is now 8 feet off the ground in the side yard. So ideally, you want to block that. So I would like to see that as a condition of approval.
That they're maintaining.
Yeah, that they're maintaining as well for the 11 foot. I guess it's the 11-foot stretch.
I know the board is deliberating.
Hang on one second.
Yeah.
Can we have motion to open the public portion of the meeting? A second. All those in favor? Aye. Go ahead. Stand up for the mic.
The deck, as you can see in the photo, is proposed to have a opening in the railing, both in the front and the back. So with the provision that when we plant, we don't want to plant so close that you can't access the deck from the front. So I think the applicant is happy to accept that condition, but the question is, do you want a solid wall or do you want something that's a little bit staggered so you can still use the stairways to?
I'm not a big fan of the steps in the front. I don't want to see that. So I'm gonna trees right across, because this is, I'll be honest with you, you can easily put a deck on the back of this house and use that for the porch's access. All right, so it's not impossible to do that job and put the deck where it belongs. So realistically, looking at this, I don't see why a deck can go on the back of this house and use that existing porch as access. I mean, you have an open porch right here off the mudroom. There's no reason why you couldn't put a deck on the back of the house.
It's just that it wouldn't be visible easily from inside the house. That was one of the concerns.
Well, that's not our concern.
I understand that.
So, and remember, our decision runs with the land. So, that's why we want to make sure that this thing is protected from the street.
Understood.
Can I just make a small suggestion? In terms of the plantings in the front, I don't know if the board might want to consider something other than green giant arborvitae, given the existing mature trees in there. I just don't know if
If
it's
they
gonna, if it's gonna look, I'm saying like once they grow, it might look a little out of place.
Yeah,
Like all of a sudden, you're gonna have this big,
You could do hedging, you could do like a,
yeah, just to maybe
Large
give them a little bit
boxwood.
more, yeah, something with a bit more flexibility
Or
to
just with that
to
height,
screen.
though.
As long as,
Yeah,
as long as
yeah,
it's
whatever it is.
screened with the height, but they may want to
And it
consider
should be
something and
ever-
talk to
like
a landscape
someone-
architect
Yeah.
about that.
I mean, like I said, my biggest concern is that you're standing on this deck now, you're 8 feet off the ground, and you're standing in the side yard. People standing in the side yard, because I mean, these are the typical uses of a deck, it's not unreasonable.
So, green giants grow very fast and they also tend to blow over, but I think what you're talking about is evergreens that are at least 6 feet high at the time of planting.
Good, or boxwoods, whatever, whatever.
You want something that's tall enough, at least 6 feet,
And dense,
let's say at the time, okay,
correct.
understood.
And maintain.
Question, so is your, can I, we're still in a.
Oh, no, we're open, so.
Can I still ask? Okay, so your intention is to have connection between the open porch that's in the front? And the-
There is an open
Yeah,
porch now
yes,
in the front that's
Yes.
staying the way it is.
yes, but you didn't want them continuous?
No,
There's gonna be a
no.
break, so you could plant just in line in the front, just bring it around. It would just. be-
I would say, nothing says it has to be in front of the deck.
Yeah.
As long as it's blocking it, so if you come in the front of the house, where your open porch is in the front there, and you build a wall there, something green that makes it so that you don't see it, the idea is to block direct vision,
Understood.
so.
And what about, what's the board's direction in terms of access?
Yeah, as I was seeing it, I think it's right next to the AC unit, right?
Yes.
Yes,
So if we are talking about shielding that area, then we might want to move it probably, like in the access.
Look, I'm not a
Maybe we
fan,
don't do the.
yeah, I'm not a fan of that entrance to the front, I don't think
Yeah.
that's, if the purpose is to watch the kitchen, front, backyard, you don't need a step from the front. I think that also it's gonna look a little crazy with the front stairs going up to the house, and another set of stairs going up there, so I think that element could be eliminated.
I would agree. I mean, we haven't gotten this far, but I was gonna say that, when I went to see the property and looking at the plans, like, there really is no reason why you can't put a deck on the back of the house. There's absolutely access there. There's already, stairs. No, you can't go directly from the kitchen, but you could go from right next to the kitchen, and there's definitely room there. So I think for me personally, if we are going to allow a deck on the side, on the side of the house, which is not really, a great place for it, in my opinion, then I don't think that there should be access from the front. We're gonna have people coming and going, from the front, or have like a little thing in between the hedge and trees where you can, come and go. I think it's asking for too much. And I think it's gonna be detrimental to the landscape of the neighborhood and the character of the neighborhood. So I would not be comfortable with that. I think it's, again, pushing it to even have a deck coming off the side of the house, so.
All right, I'll close the public portion. Any other thoughts on this? All right, so then, I would have a motion, please, considering the removal of any type of stairs in the front and with a 6-foot, call it a green fence above the roof wall. I think that's what.
To be maintained.
To be maintained in perpetuity. Do I have a motion to such?
I'll make a motion to approve that proposal.
And a second?
Second.
Ashley Abington,
Yes.
Chandra Rajani,
Yes.
Amy Lawrence.
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Jessica Glad,
Yes.
Craig Knight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck further.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yeah.
So we are heading back to application 394723, 263 Long Hill.
I figured out what I did wrong.
Yeah, right. All right, so we got.
If you go to attachment E,
Attachment A, what's that?
Attachment E that's with your November 15, 2023 letter,
yes,
okay?
under the building coverage variance, all the way to the right, I have extent of variance 224. It's
Right.
actually 244. It's like that's where I dropped the 20 square feet. And as soon as you do that, everything works.
Okay. So it's not, so the current coverage is not 3145, but it's 3155?
Yes,
Okay, and the proposed coverage is 3220?
yes.
So it's your percentages that are off.
Well, I didn't carry the second point. That's all. I mean, it is 14 point, it's 1.1%.
Right, but I'm saying 14.8% of 21,255 is not 3155. Because that 14.8% is predicated on the lot size.
Yeah, but it is 3155.
14.8, 3155 is 14.8%.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yes.
it worked, it's good. I checked, I went through
Okay,
everything.
fine.
It's the only thing I messed up was that I wrote 2240 or
You wrote 20.
224. Yeah, sorry,
But the
really
but
sorry.
the deviation is still 1.1%, Mr. Klesse?
Yes, yeah, yes,
And your side yard setback calculations are still accurate
yes,
for your attachment E?
yes.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Klesse or the applicant? In that case, I'll close the public portion. Oh, yes. Let me show that we saw somebody. Yeah, let me know that. Do you have any questions regarding this application? Okay, super. Any comments regarding this application? Let the record show that there's no one in the audience regarding this application. So now it's closed to the public. Board members, your thoughts?
I think it's relatively modest. I don't, I think when you look at the other homes around, they have legitimate sort of second floors or legitimate second floors. I don't think the ask is particularly egregious. I would be supportive of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. You have that, I guess it would be, I don't know what's, is it the east or west side of the lot, the one where you have the side yard setback issue? I mean, a lot, it does slope in, or just, it skews in, which causes a little bit of a hardship there. And since we're working with an existing home, which is a ranch, that does make it difficult in terms of building on top of it, because usually typically they have much larger floor plate on the first floor. So I would support the application.
I agree. I think you've done a nice job of keeping the massing modest, because you could have gone all over the place and with the second floor on that, but I think the design takes that into consideration and keeps it modest in its massing. So it's,
And I think that the fact that you could have gone up to 35, you haven't, and you kind of kept it as low as possible with the sides only of 5 feet, then slanting up. So I think from all that perspective, very well thought out plan for meeting the needs.
yes.
In that case, can I have a motion?
Make a motion for approval.
A second?
I can second.
Ashley Abbott? Yeah. Chandra Rajani?
Yes.
Amy Lawrence?
Yes.
Gary Rosen?
Yes.
Regina Truitt?
Yes.
Jessica Glad?
Yes.
Craig Knight.
Yes. Good luck with the project.
Thank you, thanks.
Thank you.
So where are you guys at?
Well, theoretically, we're still waiting for a plan.
Yeah, I mean,
Is he supposed to?
yeah, so, come on down.
Yeah, I don't have it.
So,
Threw it out again.
Yeah, I threw it out.
I downloaded it last night. But this. I'll fix it.
so who's your planner? Who's your planner?
John,
John McDonough, and he was with another meeting, so he's maybe on the way back here after finish.
Did you try calling him?
but maybe not.
Did you call him or?
I didn't call him, so maybe he was right in another hearing at another
Well,
time.
did you call him, he didn't answer, or did you not call him? So you have a
We didn't call him, but he didn't text, and he was supposed to.
All right, so here's the deal. It doesn't. Which application?
This is 20 Claremont.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So this application is calendar 39/18/23, 20 Claremont. So here's this problem with all this, that if we get started and we do need testimony from a planner, you know, we're just gonna waste a lot of time. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. You know,
Well, we also, you know. Everyone's coming back next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's the 18th, what's the 18th look like? 18th of what, Did John know that he was supposed to be here tonight?
Yes, he knows. He agreed
I mean, because
to.
you're only the fourth case, so we move along. So can you do it on the 18th?
18th of December?
December, that's our next, I mean, my concern is, like I said, you get halfway through this case and you need his testimony. I mean, you do have, you know, a D variance here, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want planning testimony at D variance.
And December 18th, how many people are you gonna have
Well, who's not gonna be
Here, yeah,
All of us.
yeah, there's no
here?
light. We have no light.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of voters, so how many cases do we have that night?
Yeah.
I think I have 4 on, like,
John's
they're
plan.
not huge.
Yeah, that's fine.
So can we secure one spot on December 18th
You sure can.
Yeah.
before the Christmas?
Yeah, you sure can.
That
So,
will make
all right, so
everyone
see if
happy.
John's available,
Thank you.
then
I'll download
confirm.
it.
We'll put you down for the 18th. But please confirm with John that he can do it. And then, yeah, we'll get someone else, but, just so, you know, you don't come back here again at the end.
So this application regarding 20 Claremont Drive is being carried until December 18th at 7 o'clock in this room. No further notice will be required or provided.
Let the record reflect there's no one else in the audience this evening. So in that case, can I have a motion to
Well,
adjourn?
what do we want to do with Virginia Addison?
Yeah. I mean, I would, why don't you kick it to January?
Pick it to January 8th for scheduling purposes. or we
Right,
can
that's what we'll do. So let the record also reflect that, which one is this here?
This is 3933.
39.
Second one.
Application calendar 39/33/23 will be carried to January 8th. That's 38 Addison Drive, Zijing Liu,
We still
and
get to
Yoon
December.
Yang.
We still get to December.
So, yeah, you're December, because it's somebody else. So, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Enjoy your evening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wait, wait, wait.
Wow, it's on Monday Night Football kickoff.
That's-
Come back.